where anyone at all from Shirley Temple to Amy Semple is equally understood. Go out and try your luck, you may be Donald Duck. Hooray for Hollywood!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to a Rattlegion Broadcasting premiere podcast, Damn You Hollywood! And here's your host. He wants to know what love is, and he wants you to show him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage right now, your jukebox hero, Robert Winfrey. Yay!
Wow, that hurt.
He actually had me look up which songs were by which band to make sure that the references lined up.
I wanted to use In the Heat of the Moment, but apparently that's not Foreigner.
No, that's Asia.
Well, as was just intimated, everyone, I am Robert Winfrey. Welcome to Damn You Hollywood, and boy,
Yay!
are we in a cursing mood tonight. Let me introduce first the other members of our panel here. First up, the conspiracy to my theory, the mandated reporter, Mr. Mark Radulich.
Hello, sir. Did you enjoy your... Listen, you know you miss intros like that. We haven't done one in a very long time, and you know you love it.
No and no. Also back with us...
You bastard.
Deciding to suffer through this abominable movie alongside of us, from Honeysuckle Rose Creations, Alexis Hana has rejoined our long, slow sled ride to hell. How you doing, Alexis?
Oh, you know you miss talking to me, Robert.
Yeah, I miss the podcasts when they're not somewhat regular, because I hate my schedule being disrupted. I'm a little bit aspy like that.
See, you pick on me for having this this ridiculous schedule, but it's the schedule that keeps us all regular.
I don't pick on you for having a schedule, as ridiculous as it is. I pick on you for the choices you make related to the schedule.
Well, there's nothing I can do about that.
There is everything you can do about that. It's an entirely autonomous decision on your part.
They beckon, they call, they talk to me. I hear voices in my head. They talk to me, don't you understand?
Now you're just making me sad.
Yeah, that whole thing was sad, but we'll talk about that tomorrow night.
All right. For those of you wondering why we're somewhat dilly-dallying, yeah. We're talking about the direct-to-Disney Plus release, Artemis Fowl.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Anyone else remember when we used to review good movies?
Nope.
No. We don't review good movies here. Mark hates me. I mean, the last good movie we reviewed was what, Ford v. Ferrari?
No, we both like The Gentleman.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, so okay, fair enough.
There you go.
I was going to say, I don't think Scoop qualifies under that, and that's the last movie review all three of us were on board for.
Yeah.
Since Robert, you didn't do comic strips, so you didn't have to suffer through the last days of American crime with us.
Apparently that has a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
What good reason?
Yeah, well deserved.
Speaking of zeros, yeah, Artemis Fowl.
Getting closer to that 0.
Well, if it's not 0, if it doesn't start at 0, it will never actually be 0.
Yeah, there are some, in fact, fresh reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I've seen them.
I can't begin to imagine the kind of brain-dead idiocy that leads one to say anything remotely positive about this movie. Just
the kind of person who likes seeing Judi Dench say top of the morning like somebody is holding her coffee off screen and saying, say the line, dame, or you're not getting your latte.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a lot of this. So, Mark, did you put this on the schedule? Now, this was originally on the schedule. This is not a last-minute addition.
Okay, no, hang on. No, it wasn't. So, a couple of things. One, this was originally supposed to come out, I feel like a year before, and then it got delayed again. And I'll tell you...
Imagine why. This does not show the scars of a troubled production, Mark. I can't believe you.
Yeah, 20 years in the making. But can I tell you, like, the first time when I first saw it on the schedule, I kind of had a brain fart momentarily, and I looked at the title, I looked at the company, I looked at the title, and I'm like, Disney did a live-action version of Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand? I don't know.
You are a silly, silly man.
I don't know why I saw Artemis, Fowl, and thought Atlas Shrugged, other than they both begin with A. But in my mind, for at least a moment, that's where I went. Disney, Atlas Shrugged. I'm like,
to be fair, I would rather have watched an Atlas Shrugged adaptation, despite that being a ponderous, self-indulgent piece of literature.
Atlas Shrugged, starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. It would have been perfect.
Dude, not a joke. I'd pay to watch that.
Yeah, so would I. Mickey Shrugged. But no.
No. It would be Walt Shrugged. Just starring all the Disney characters.
Yeah, I reiterate, why has nobody done that?
Well, the intern
They're not
who's
creative
listening.
enough thinkers. We just gave away a multi-million-dollar idea.
We do it all the time here. That's why we have this podcast. Look, the point is, this was never on the schedule because it's a novel. It's a YA novel adaptation. We tend not to do those because who amongst us has read the YA novels unless somebody speaks up and says, "Hey, can we talk about this?" I had no knowledge of the books myself, having never read them, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to make Robert." I got out of the habit of making you review every single thing Disney puts out because it's not necessary. So initially, this was not on the schedule,
and some of it is so bad.
Yeah. So I was like, not everything Disney does is a hit. So I was like, we don't really need to cover this. But COVID happened and ended up on Disney Plus. We don't have a shitload of things to review. I was like, if there's interest in this, and who knows? I mean, Trolls World Tour was spectacular, in my opinion. Scoob was okay, and the trend is going downward, but I thought maybe this would be a hit. Like, I was excited for this in terms of, like maybe this would be like a Spy Kids kind of a thing. My kids would really enjoy it. Shark Boy and Lava Girl, that sort of thing.
Boy, that was awful.
Don't bring up Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Hey, look, you know the only good thing that came out of Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
The push to further make 3D movies?
No. There's a somewhat independent wrestler whose gimmick is Shark Boy, and he sued Disney because he owns the IP for that.
That's awesome.
And if you have watched, for any wrestling nerds out there who might remember Shark Boy from the early TNA days, yeah, Shark Boy sued Disney.
And won?
I think he got a settlement.
Sure.
Anyway. Yeah, he had trademarked Shark Boy and then sued Disney over Shark Boy and Lava Girl because they were infringing on his trademark.
Well, I knew you weren't going to say taking steps to having Taylor Lautner's abs woo every middle-aged woman in America.
Look, find your thrills where you can get them. I might find it annoying, but I'm only going to judge so much.
So anyway, with a lack of things to review, and this being on Disney Plus, and the hopes that my kids would at least enjoy it, and you guys willing to do it with me, I figured, what the hell? Here we are. Turns out this was a terrible mistake and a giant waste of time. Plot.
Just out of curiosity, Robert, did you also agree to do with this when you found out it was going to be on Disney Plus, so we wouldn't have to pay anything?
Pretty much. Look, Mark just said, "Hey, it's going straight to Disney Plus. We have nothing else to talk about. Do you object to me putting this on the schedule?" And I said, "No, I don't have any philosophical objection to this in a vacuum."
Because when he asked me, my reaction was, "Well, it's free. What the hell?"
It's not free. There was a cost associated with the viewing of this movie, both your time and the viewing of this movie.
Yeah, the time and the pain.
So much pain.
My wife is not a movie critic, and she's not the harshest critic of anything of this sort. And even she, the whole time, was sitting there looking at me, going, "This is miserable dreck. Why are we watching this? Why do we have children? Where are my pants?"
Meanwhile, your children are on the floor in front of you, just bouncing up and down on their heels, going, "Yeah, get them, get them."
I asked my daughter. She doesn't want to do the podcast. She initially was just
I can't imagine why.
She initially had said she wanted to review the movie with us, but, when I asked her, I'm like, hey, we're going to start at 9 o'clock. Do you want to get in on this? She was like, nah, I'll just go to bed. And I'm like, all right. But can you tell me what it is you liked about this movie since you said you liked it? She's like, and she goes, I like the fact that there were mythical creatures in it. Okay. So I don't think she really liked the movie as such. I think she liked what was in the movie in terms of like characters and stuff that was interesting to her. But I don't think she was like really drawn in by the plot. Now my son said
Once
he
again,
liked.
I can't imagine why.
Now my son said he liked it, and I don't know why he liked it though. Maybe Josh Gad farting dirt. I don't know. I mean, he is a little boy, so it could be any number of things. Maybe it was a smart alecky lead. Maybe he just said yes to run out of the room to go back to using his phone. I don't know. But that's where my kids landed. My wife and I fucking hated this.
I tried to convince Andre to watch it with me. He wouldn't. And I tried to convince a girlfriend of mine who has read the books to sit with us on this, so we'd actually have some perspective as to how this strayed so horribly from the books. She said, no, I haven't seen the movie yet. And I go, well, you can see it by 8 o'clock on tonight. Then, and then we can still get in. She's like, I think I'm going to wait till next week to watch this.
I haven't read the books, but I have gained a little bit of perspective on them. I've done some research. So a lot of details I won't have, but I can speak with a degree of conversant literacy on the overarching issues that have struggled, that just derailed this from the start. Okay, so our plot.
Or lack thereof.
Because really, we start by being introduced to Artemis Fowl, the latest in the long, sad history of 12-year-old child prodigies shoehorned into, God, whatever.
Ridiculously rich 12-year-old prodigies.
Yes, capable of beating chess grandmasters in a mere 5 moves, which is, while technically possible, requires such a series of catastrophic blunders by one half of the equation would never happen. We're introduced to him. His father, Colin Farrell, utterly wasted in this movie. And by which I mean, I hope he was drunk and at least had a good time.
It's too bad, because when Colin Farrell actually gets to act with his real Irish accent, you actually can tell that he's doing he's putting in a little bit more of an effort than usual.
Yeah. Sort of the long and the short of the setting here is that all the mythical creatures that you've ever heard about, fairies, trolls, goblins, dwarves, etc., they're real. They just live in the middle of the earth, and after some kind of great conflict, they have to remain secret from the majority of humanity. Meanwhile, Colin Farrell, Artemis Fowl Sr., has a long history of theft and dealing with these creatures and just trying to help keep their secret, keep the two worlds apart because, of course. We meet Josh Gad, whose character can only be described as, I'm going to quote someone else's review here, Hagrid's ne'er-do-well younger brother who heard Christian Bale's Batman growl and thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Pretty accurate.
There's a fairy character that we follow who exists on screen. That's about all I can say. And things start to happen to our motley band of on-screen characters. I will not call them protagonists. When Colin Farrell is kidnapped by a shadowy, unseen force seeking to gain the... Oh, what the heck was that thing called?
Oculus.
Yeah, we were actually trying to remember the name earlier. This movie leaves so little impact on you that you actually can't remember the name of the MacGuffin. In fact, do us a favor.
The MacGuffin.
Oh, just call it the MacGuffin. That's literally all it is.
Yeah. So there's a MacGuffin. It's important for reasons that are never actually explained.
It's a doorway between dimensions. That's what you get out of that.
Sure, but that's so badly, and we'll get to that when we talk about craft. I mean, at least if we're gonna make some comparisons here, at least the Philosopher's Stone from Harry Potter was given an appropriate context, right? This, yeah. So that's been stolen, and the fairies are looking for it. This shadowy evil creature is looking for it and believes that the Fowls have it. So kidnaps the Elder Fowl, the one who would actually know where it is, to incentivize our dickwad child prodigy into finding it through a convoluted series of events to then give it to her. Oh, this is just so stupid.
Opal Kaboy was a her?
Did you say the villain's name was Copacabana?
Dun, 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 dun.
It's Opal something or other, and yeah, I think Opal was referred to as a she in a few other places. So,
at the Copacabana.
I mean, really, I set you up like that, and you can't even give me Lola.
Lola.
Anyway. So through one of the most ridiculous, incomprehensible
down in Dagobah, where it bubbles
there we go.
like a giant carbonated soda, SODA soda.
God bless you, Weird Al.
You know what? As much as I love hearing Mark speak rather than talking about this piece of shit of a movie, we do have a job to do.
I know. If Mark will stop interrupting me.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if we actually got paid, but...
We would?
Why wouldn't it? So a convoluted plot is derived by our child prodigy, who rather than actually looking through his own house for this, decides, I will kidnap a fairy and incentivize a dwarf being brought here because dwarves have a genetic compulsion for treasure. This dwarf, then, with the power of god-awful CGI nose hair, will pick the lock.
Was that nose hair, or was that his... I thought it was beard.
Nope. It was... If you want to look at it, rewatch that sequence. I swear it comes out of his nose.
That would entail actually putting the movie back on.
I'm just saying, that's what it looked like to me, and I watched the retraction sequence. It looked like it was going back up his nose.
Yeah, see, I'm to ask my husband, who's a computer programmer, to hack into the code of Disney Plus and just have the button that opens up Artemis Fowl just be permanently disabled.
In a scene that will become our new benchmark for not only bad CGI but just terrible decision making in movies, it's now Reese Witherspoon turning into romaine lettuce and Josh Gad's nasal hair.
Ew.
He picks this obscenely expensive lock on this vault. They find the MacGuffin. They wind up using the MacGuffin to swipe Colin Farrell back from shadowy figure number 1. Let's call it Noob Saibot. Mortal Kombat humor.
That actually works a lot better.
They swipe him back. All is well. The MacGuffin goes back to the elves. The list of elves that was secretly in cahoots with Noob Saibot is revealed because, yay.
They did.
I'm sure that won't lead to widespread governmental authoritarian abuse of power. Artemis Fowl makes a call to Noob Saibot. They exchange threats. The big narrative device, the framing device for this story is Josh Gad telling the story to some shadowy government officials. He then gets broken out, and our heroes, characters, people on screen, walking exposition dumps, are then whisked away into the sunset via helicopter, never to be seen again if there is anything approximating mercy in the universe.
They'll cross paths with Tom Cruise from the Dark Universe's Mummy on the way to his sequel.
Boy, I hope so. Okay, there's... I want to say there's stuff I skipped, because technically there is. And I'd rather be technically correct. But I mean, where do you want to start with this, Mark? There is nothing good about this movie.
Well, that's not entirely true.
It's entirely true.
No, it isn't. We're going to do a compliment sandwich here.
You can't... No, this is an open-faced compliment sandwich.
You're right. It is an open-faced compliment sandwich. So here's the bottom bread. Because then we're going to pile it on with a stack of shit meat. But...
It's a Subway.
No, listen, my kid likes Subway. It's delicious. It's wonderful.
Taco Bell's taco meat. Come on.
Okay, fine. You know what? That works.
I mean, Del Taco, technically, but I'm not sure how national that is.
You could have also gone with Arby's, like Jon Stewart did for many years on end.
Sorry, when I think of shitty meat, I think about Subway and that bin of tuna.
Fair enough.
It's a very pretty movie.
See, I actually disagree with Mark there, but that is the closest thing to a compliment you can give this movie.
I think the color paletting was very bright and wonderful. I like the use of greens and blues. Ireland has never looked so pretty. I think if you remove the CGI and just look at the costuming and the settings and the area around the house, I actually think you're looking at a very gorgeous, picturesque movie. So at least if I have to look at nothing for 90 minutes and nothing happening for 90 minutes, at least I got a pretty nothing for 90 minutes. And that's the last good thing I'm going to say about this movie. I don't like to pick on child actors. They have enough working against them as it is.
Please do.
But
none of them are good.
We often talk about how, sometimes a movie is held up by its performers and their performances, even if the movie itself is not great. Here's the problem. Whether you look at the actor or the character, neither of which works. Let's start with Artemis Fowl, okay? This poor child.
Acting debut from what I've seen.
Yes, Ferdius
and
Shaw.
Hopefully his last.
Ferdius Shaw, I think, is doing his level best to play this character. The problem is this is not a very well-written character. He's obnoxious, unlikable, and he has zero arc in this movie.
In the books, Artemis Fowl Jr. was already a criminal mastermind before the book starts. In this one, he basically is a prodigy who learns everything he needs to off-screen in his father's books. And then we're all of a sudden supposed to just trust everything he says. And it's like, okay, so you learn this in a book.
Right.
Big deal.
Yeah, that's actually the hook. The entire hook for the novel series is that Artemis Fowl is a bad guy. He's it's not like, what's the comparison I saw? It's not like James Bond Jr. It's like Blofeld Jr., right? We start off with him as a bad guy, and then slowly over the course of the series, he develops a conscience and becomes less terrible.
Yeah, it's incredibly well-written character growth in the books.
Here, by contrast, everyone involved looked at the idea, the fundamental underpinning of what makes the story work to the extent that it does in the novel, and went, yeah, nope.
So, I don't know what they thought he was trying to do with this stupid character, but the character is very one note, and I think the direction he got was be smarmy, but smarmy isn't a great look for a 12-year-old, and when you're the hero of the picture, I know what you guys are saying, but let's face facts here. He is supposed to be the hero of this picture, and even if he's supposed to be like a Dom Toretto, anti-hero type, he doesn't pull it off at all.
No, again, there's a very clear... I think Kenneth Branagh, I don't know how he produced something this bad. I really don't, but he did. He actually said in some of the, in interviews and whatnot, that he just didn't like the idea of trying to sell a property like this by following, quote-unquote, the villain. Even
though this book has sold over 25 1,000 copies worldwide, and it's clear that that's what people wanted because they love the character.
Yes, because Hollywood producers and directors know better. Hence the title of this show. Again, it's a profoundly stupid direction for them to have gone. And, yeah, like, you have to be... I mean, smarmy's a hard thing to pull off. Like, good actors can struggle to be smarmy. You try to make a child actor smarmy, and all you get is slightly befuddled, unengaging douchebag.
Which is a bad look on a 12-year-old. So let's move on.
Yet so many of them do it.
So I don't want to belabor the point. He might be better than this, but this was not a great... I mean, this is Jake Lloyd level of starting off on the wrong foot in your acting career. And hopefully...
That's fair.
Yeah, and hopefully he pulls it together, and, you know, he maybe... doesn't
Without
get
having to be institutionalized.
You know, maybe he gets a few more. Maybe do some TV acting. You know, Disney already knows him. Maybe do some Disney projects. He needs work. I think they picked him because of his look. I think he had a good look, and I think there's potential there. I don't want to say the kid can't act based on this one performance. That's not fair.
I mean. It would be fair if it weren't this performance, because this movie somehow manages to just completely gut the presentation and ability of talented actors. Again, Colin Farrell's not a bad actor when you get him going. I mean, what more can you say about Judi Dench?
Hell, Josh Gad's not... I don't even think Josh Gad's a bad actor. I've seen clips of him performing in the Book of Mormon. He's Broadway.
Terrible.
Well, he's Broadway trained, and I think he is a good actor.
No,
he just has had some really bad casting.
Robert
choices.
really just hates Josh Gad.
Okay, hold on. Two things. One, yes, I do hate him. Two, there's a world of difference between Broadway stage acting and film acting.
Okay,
Gad might be a perfectly serviceable Broadway actor that just can't make that transition.
Look, there's plenty of things he's been in, and if you want, I'll pull up his Wikipedia. But,
you really want to try and defend...
yeah, I'll look.
Hang on.
Not Gaston. He was fine as LeFou.
LeFou.
Okay, he served a bit of a purpose in the role of LeFou, sure. But are you going to try and defend... what was that crappy Adam Sandler movie he was in?
Oh, no one survived Pixels.
Pixels, that's it. Thank you.
Brian Cox was in that. Not even he could survive that.
I'm sure he was fine on Murder in the Orient Express.
Actually, you know what? He was good in that.
I haven't seen that, actually, so I can't comment.
I have seen both versions. He was quite good in it, and I think we all rejoiced watching Johnny Depp get killed.
I'm sure he was fine in Jobs.
No.
Okay. I'm sure he was fine in Marmaduke.
Oh, really? No. No one was fine in Marmaduke.
He was perfectly serviceable in the role he had in Modern Family.
I have not seen his cameo in Modern Family.
A lot of voice work.
You know what? I will give Josh Gad this in all seriousness. His voice work is much better than his live action stuff.
Okay.
You know, people will say that Olaf in Frozen is annoying, but he did exactly what he was supposed to, and I think for that role, actually, he nailed it. You feel the emotion with that character.
Yeah, again, the fact that the character is annoying is not the fault of the voice actor in that case. That the character's just written that way.
Which brings us back to Ferdius Shaw, so we can finish this up and move on. Like, I think he has a good look, and I think with some time and some guidance and some not starring roles, but supporting roles, I think he can work on his chops and save his career. If they continue to throw him lead roles like this, he's going to flounder, fall on his face, and be one of those, like, cautionary tales. All right, Lara McDonnell as Holly Short apparently is a good actress. She tends to be a bit pitchy in this at times. She does, especially when she's in the cage. She's just a lot of yelling dialogue, and they gave her crap dialogue to read anyway.
Hold on. That is, in all fairness, no one in this movie has good dialogue. Just straight up,
they seem to give
the
her
writing is
They
atrocious.
gave her the worst, though. A lot of what she has to deal with is incomprehensible nonsense, and that she's just yelling at the top of her lungs. So
there's a lot of that, and I mean the characters don't actually do anything but occasionally go for exposition dumps. So it's all about how well that's set up and or how understandable the exposition dump is.
Going back to Dame Judi Dench, who I think we will all agree is a fantastically amazing actress, obviously. She looked like she was having more fun as old Deuteronomy.
She looked like she was having a ball in Cats. And I'll continue to defend that movie, goddammit. Everybody in there.
You can waste your time on that particular endeavor, sir. You are the only one about to die.
The fact that you and the rest of this planet is obsessed with cat buttholes is not my problem. Cats is a masterpiece.
Allow me to tell you the company you're keeping defending that movie, Mark. Jeff Harris are back to back on that hill fighting to the death.
I was saying, my joke earlier about how Dame Judi Dench looked like somebody was bribing her with her coffee off screen, I stand by it because every shot she's in, she looks so uncomfortable, so annoyed, and just has this, and even every way she reads her lines just says, I don't want to be here, I am being held against my will, I fucking hate this.
Yes, I do believe in one scene she was blinking send help.
Wouldn't surprise me.
All right, so to finish up with poor Lara McDonald, from what I understand, she's an actual capable actress. This one, look, you get the secondary lead in a Disney movie. Who doesn't jump at this? And then once you're in it, how do you walk away from a project like this at her stage of the game? So I don't fault her with it. I think she's a capable actress. She's just, her character is nothing, and the dialogue she's given is garbage. We talked about Josh Gad. A lot of his stuff is badly droning on exposition and horrible CGI. Nightmare CGI. Tamara Smart as Juliet Butler has no character. They gave her like a Fowl action scene where she gets to fence with her uncle, and then she's like, she's the baddest ass ninja on the planet, and then she does nothing with it except make a sandwich. The ninjas on last night's Backlash show had more to do than this broad.
That entire character could have been cut from the movie, and no one would have known or cared.
Yeah. From what I've heard, apparently her character has even less to do in the book, so they actually did try to make her a little bit more interesting. She's supposed to be a teenager in the book as well. I guess they wanted her to be more closer to Artemis's age.
Well, she's a teenager, and there's something about her relationship with Artemis in the book that's much different from how it is here, and I don't mean that that's her interactions with Artemis are kind of what make her interesting as far as that goes in the books, but yeah, they abandoned that here in favor of nothing.
Yeah, well, they did nothing with her in this. None of that is in this movie. So, just to finish off the people I want to talk about in the cast, Nonso Anazi as the butler, or whatever they're calling him. I guess this is a capable actor who's been in other stuff and is perfectly good. They don't do anything with him.
I have to confirm that.
The only thing I knew him from was a few episodes of Game of Thrones.
They do both Jack and shit with him in this movie, and it is utterly wasted.
And then he's given.
Oh God, he's in that terrible 2011 Conan the Barbarian movie.
Never saw it.
That great Conan the Barbarian movie.
Mark, don't.
Yeah, I just love how they give his character such a meaningful death scene. It's like we have seen him do jack and shit through this whole film, and you're really trying to get a tearjerker scene that he sacrificed his life for.
Oh, this poor guy. His stint so far under the Disney banner includes Ender's Game, Cinderella, which, okay, fair enough.
That explains what he's doing here. Kenneth Branagh probably remembered him from that and wanted him in the role.
Well, I mean, Mark and I talked about this when we reviewed Cinderella. I don't really have any complaints about that movie. He's in Pan.
Oof.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Wow. Fire your fucking agent, dude. Or I hope you've saved all your money and don't have to act anymore because you're not making good choices here. I want to say one thing about the villain. That villain, it was a complete waste of time. It's a voice. It's an ominous voice, and because
it's not even an ominous voice.
And because this was clearly supposed to be a setup for future movies, which it's not going to be. They don't do away. The villain is kind of Voldemort-ish in the sense that it's going to hang around for future movies, but in doing so, and I'm going to say this as sort of a general rule. Worry about the movie you're making, not the movies you're going to make in the future, because you might not be making them, and then you're just cutting your own picture short. And that's what happened here. They did nothing with this fucking villain after they saved Colin Farrell, and then there's no resolution to the movie. So, they saved Colin Farrell, and then he whisper dialogue, some bullshit, into the camera, and then the movie's over. And I'm like, they didn't do anything with the villain. So this is a garbage ending.
There's actually some arguments about who plays the villain because the voice is so digitally manipulated that you can't even tell really who it is.
It's credited as it's listed as uncredited actually as Hong Chow.
Yeah, but again, they only credit Hong Chow as it because she played a similar role in a deleted scene, but they can't actually get confirmation if she played Opal.
Yeah.
All right. Moving off the cast. This is the most poorly paced, boring movie I have seen in quite some time. And I'm not usually one to be like, oh, this movie is boring, because one man's bore is another man's roller coaster. But I can't see... I mean, they're an hour into this thing before anything actually happens. It's one long... there's a formula to making an action-adventure. Only goes so many minutes before you do some kind of action scene. There is a long stretch of nothing until the army shows up at his house. And then that's a long, extended action scene. And then they save the dad, and then it's over.
It's a badly done, long, extended action scene because the one bit of action we get was kind of Brana trying to do a bad imitation of Matthew Vaughn's stylized approach to the Kingsman action scenes that lasts for all of 40 seconds, and then it just ends abruptly.
You just totally cut out. I actually couldn't hear a word you said.
I got it.
Okay, good. I was terrified that I was being cut off. No, Robert, Mark and I were talking about this before you came on earlier. It is obvious that this movie has died, as we'll put it, the death of 1,000 edits. This is another movie which we have been seeing far too many of in recent cinemas, that it's clear that this movie has been edited over and over and over again, especially when majority of the scenes in the original trailer did not see the light of day in this film. Many scenes you can tell that they cut exposition, I know it's hard to believe since they're walking exposition, but a lot of things that they probably needed to explain are not being explained. Action scenes do not exist, and characters just seem to keep on doing stuff and moving along like they know things that we as the audience have no clue how they know this. For example, you get the scene where they steal Holly Short's weapon and use it to fight off the impending army, which could have been a cool action scene, but again is shot camera's being held by a monkey. And apparently, I actually had to look this up, the idea was for Holly Short's weapon to transform into different things. But they didn't include that, so you have the scene of Butler fighting, and all of a sudden he's holding what looks like the light arrow with a bow from Ocarina of Time. And I'm just like, where the hell did that come from? Well, it's Short's weapon transformed. But again, how were we supposed to know that? It just looks like Butler pulled a light arrow out of his ass.
So this thing is horribly, poorly paced. It's an hour of nothing happening, just building, building, building. It's kind of paced like the Battle of the Five Armies, only horrible. You know, the Battle of the
we don't care about the characters.
Yeah, like the Battle of the Five Armies is a conclusion to a trilogy where you've at least gotten to know the characters, and you're going to see like an epic war. That's why the battle, to the point that it does, work. The Battle of the Five Armies works as well as it does. Here, they're trying something very similar with characters you don't care about in a world you've only just begun to know, and then the action is nigh Transformers unreadable.
Yeah.
I had no fucking clue what was going on in this movie or why it was happening. And it never stopped after that. Like, it was like, well, we've gone an hour into this movie and there's nothing happening, and so we got to give the kids something to watch here. We got to give them an action scene. So they gave them 15 to 20 minutes of action, and then they save the dad and it's over. And it's like, I don't understand how we got from A to Z here. And I'm not a dumb man, but this children's movie has utterly lost me. And even my wife, like, I had to turn to a couple times going, do you have any idea what's happening? Because, like, I'm paying attention. I'm not even on my phone, and I don't know. I can't tell what is happening and why it's happening. And she's like, no, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, all right. So, poorly paced. And then... that's really it. That's all I have to say about this. Incomprehensible, boring, poorly paced, badly written dialogue. It just looks pretty, but the rest of this was a waste of celluloid.
I'm not even giving it the full marks for looking pretty like Mark is. I give it about, I don't know.
Can you
10 being... Hang on, 10 being the best-looking thing I've ever seen, 1 being the dirt worst. This is probably about a 5 or a 6.
Can you do what you do best and shit all over the CGI? I was saving that for you.
I appreciate it, thank you. Somehow, this movie, in 2020, with a budget of...
$125 million.
$125 million, thank you. Manages to have the jaw extension dislocation effect that the first Brendan Fraser Mummy movie did.
20 years ago?
15?
Something
something like that. I have to look that up now.
Hang on, I'm looking it up.
Okay, 1999.
Oh, there we go.
So... 20 years ago, and managed to make it look as though nothing had changed. There'd been no technological advancement in the realm of CGI. It took the Josh Gad body hair extension, and again, that now rivals Reese Witherspoon turning into romaine lettuce. For just not only looking bad, but just being the dumbest thing you've ever seen rendered on screen like that. The poor guy who plays the centaur. The centaur, the back half, the horse half of him looks terrible. It's like barely connected to his upper body motions at times. It's ridiculous.
Not to mention, how do you have a centaur wearing a kilt and still have it look so... I don't want to say like wrong as in, oh, that shouldn't be there like that, but I don't know. It kind of comes down to that whole, if a horse would wear pants, how would he wear the pants thing that you see in visual memes? And it's like, well, if a horse wears a kilt, would he really wear a kilt like that? It just looks so weird.
To say nothing of, and I'm going to dump all over our conclusion here as being just so profoundly stupid. There's a lot of really, really stupid things that take place in this movie. Our motley band of characters we follow being able to fly up to a secret MI6 security installation in the middle of the River Thames, undetected, to break out Josh Gad, because he's been our stupid framing device for this, is just so profoundly stupid. Just nothing about this movie makes sense. The majority of it isn't readable visually. The dialogue, such as it is terribly written. It's badly read. It's horribly paced. It's... Again, the best thing you can say about it is it's colorful. So... And I wouldn't even subject a poor small child to this movie because it would damage them. I can find other colorful movies that at least have an ounce of value to their existence. This is terrible. Everything about this is terrible. This was basically dead on arrival when all the principals involved decided to abandon the only remotely interesting narrative hook that the book series has to begin with. Just awful from start to finish. Everyone involved should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, this is as bad as Cats in very, very different ways. And now, for some reason, poor Judi Dench has just two of the biggest flops you can imagine on her resume.
So I have to ask, is she trying to buy a private island? Like, does she owe somebody money? Does she just not care anymore? I don't understand Judi Dench, like, taking some of these roles. Like,
if I were to make, like, my kind of trolley guess, you know how Sean Connery just retired after the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because not only was the film awful, but his experience shooting it was so bad he couldn't justify continuing anymore? Sure. I think she's trying to find that out. She's trying to find the one movie that is not only so bad, but is so miserable to experience shooting that she just kind of goes, you know what? I'm done. I've made my money. I have my legacy. This is it. I'm out.
That's funny.
You know, it's so weird because casting her in this movie actually didn't make any sense from the book standpoint. See, Holly Short's entire backstory is that she's the first female elf being hired in Lep Recon. And I will admit, because this came from the book and not the movie, that's actually a funny joke.
It is.
Yeah, I was like, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, that's cute. But that wasn't thought of by the movie. That's from the original book. So Holly is constantly on her toes trying to prove that having a woman in this role is not going to be a disaster. Commander Root is a male in the book. Obviously, he's her supervisor. Switching Root to a female role makes absolutely no sense because it just completely ruins what was supposed to be important about Holly Short's character arc. So it's like, well, okay. Normally, I have nothing against them, changing the gender of a character. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? This one is like, why did you feel the need? Hell, we were talking earlier. A lot of the casting choices in this movie don't really make any sense. Butler's character in the book is half Russian, half Japanese, not black. And tell me, did they ever give an explanation why he's got the ice blue eyes and the white hair? Yeah, I thought they were going to do something with that because, again, the character doesn't have those in the book, so it makes no sense. And Holly Short supposedly has nut brown skin. That is the phrase that is used repeatedly. So a lot of these casting choices made no sense whatsoever.
Just everything about this movie is wrong. That's all I can say here. Kenneth Branagh is a very talented actor, has directed some very good movies. He should pay money to have his name taken off of this if he can. There's nothing good to say about this movie.
All right,
Just nothing.
So I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want to be here for 3 hours. Just, we get it. It sucks. We all know it sucks. Disney knows it sucks. That's why it's on Disney Plus. Alexis Hannah, do you have anything else you want to add to this? If not, we're moving on. We got to move on.
There was one line, and only one line in this movie that I enjoyed. Clap your hands if you believe in fairies.
Everybody just clap your hands. And if you love football the way I do, somebody say, oh, yeah.
Thank you for that, Mark.
You're welcome.
No, seriously, that's the only line I actually smiled at because I thought it was clever. This movie was such a chore to sit through, and Disney has probably saved one hell of a lot of saved himself from one hell of a bullet in the long-term goals by putting this out on Disney Plus as opposed to going into theaters.
Yeah, they would have had to pay for the theater space. There would have been no return. Now this can just die quietly.
All right. With that said, hey, this will be fun. Let's talk about the money. Yeah.
What money?
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
Look, this made no money. They pulled it from theaters on a $125 million budget, and they put it on Disney Plus, which everything I'm reading about this says they don't have enough subscribers. And certainly, this wasn't one of those deals where everybody signed up for Disney Plus to see Artemis Fowl. This became we're losing subscribers left and right because we don't have enough original content. We need something. And so, can we just talk about how the Disney Plus rollout has been a miserable failure? I mean, they came out of the gate hot and heavy with Lady and the Tramp, High School Musical, and The Mandalorian, and fell the fuck flat. Right on its face. If you're not into the vault stuff, and you don't have kids, is there a reason in terms of new original content, exclusive content, to have Disney Plus? Because I can't see it.
I don't think there is really. I have it because it's part of I have a bundle that includes it.
Right.
I have that because I got that, Hulu, and ESPN Plus.
I got it mostly for the vault stuff. I love watching the classic Disney films. I love watching the classic Disney TV series.
And then it took them forever and a day to actually get the original Simpsons episodes into the proper aspect ratio.
Very true. I love watching that kind of stuff. But as far as original programming, I think The Mandalorian is the only original programming really that I have been getting into.
So if you're into just scripted series, the last scripted series, exclusive scripted series that came on Disney Plus is Diary of a Future President, which I think my kid watched. That came out in January. It's fucking June. Now, if you're into documentaries, there's been some recent stuff. They have Prop Culture, Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, and It's a Dog's Life with Bill Fama, which all came out in May.
You know what? I actually do like a lot of the documentaries on Disney Plus. They're well made.
Their documentary stuff is pretty good. I mean, they have all the National Geographic stuff on backlog. That's the stuff they have there is. I mean, National Geographic had a really good reputation for a long time for a reason.
There was the continuation of the Clone Wars and Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings, for those of you who are into that sort of thing. Those came out in February.
The Clone Wars was well received by the Star Wars contingent that watched it. Not me, but I know enough people that do that I got kind of osmotically absorbed their reaction.
And then in February, you had 101 Dalmatian Street and Marvel Future Avengers. That's it, folks. I mean, look, in the pipeline, there's certainly a lot, and I know that COVID screwed up a lot of things, but you're not
did it.
But you may not be getting Falcon and the Winter Soldier until August, if not later, because that had to halt production. You've got The Right Stuff, which is just listed as fall. which fall at this point could be November. WandaVision's allegedly coming out in December, but who knows? And then you don't start seeing stuff again that's worth a shit until spring of 2021, which is Monsters at Work, Loki, and What If.
I mean, if they wanted to add some more value to this property, they're sitting on the Black Widow movie. I know you'd take a hit on that because that probably wasn't cheap. But
they'd have a better chance. They're going to do that. They'd have to do that with Mulan first.
I think look, Mulan has no shot at this point because of how the Chinese government has handled the pandemic.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to also talk about the films that have come out and are coming up, because there it's a little bit better of a picture for Disney Plus, but not much. But here's the thing, Mulan. Now, and we have to talk about this. Last week, Tenet got pushed back, and this has nothing to do with Disney, but it all matters. It's all interconnected. So we know
this is the financial section of our discussion, people. It's not just this movie.
So there's nothing to talk about. This movie bombs.
No, I'm just saying we talk about the business side of this during this particular segment. So it's not just how did this movie do.
Okay, so here's the thing. Last week it was announced that Tenet got pushed back 2 weeks out of its mid-July spot to, I think, like the beginning of August. Hang on, I'll look in a second. It's coming out, July 31st. So it got pushed back from July 17th. It was set to kick off in earnest the summer movie season, because then it would have been followed by Mulan, and then shortly thereafter, SpongeBob, then Bill and Ted, then The New Mutants, and A Quiet Place and Monster Hunter, in that order. Now, the summer season starts a week later. And by the way, My Spy, which has been delayed 2 or 3 times now with Dave Bautista, got bought by Amazon.
For years.
Got bought by Amazon, and is now going to be released exclusively on Amazon Prime on June 26th. Just for those of you keeping track of that sort of thing.
So we'll be reviewing it.
No, we're not going to review that. Come on now.
Dude.
Do you really want to review that?
Lord, no, but you're not going to have anything else. You'll wind up messaging me in like 2 weeks going,
we're good. I got Batman. I got Batwoman that week to do with Alexis here. We're fine. I'll throw it on the schedule if you're like begging me to. If you're like, oh, pants are off, My Spy, Dave Bautista, let's go.
Look, Dave Bautista is utterly uninteresting to me if he's not Drax.
Robert Winfrey and Kristen Schaal sitting in a tree. I'll do it because you're begging me to.
I don't know who that is.
And shut your face. I wasn't going to put it on the schedule, God damn it. We have plenty of content. We're fine. So anyway, the point that I was getting to was, so now Mulan kicks off the summer movie season, such as it is, what's left of it, on July 24th. And with Tenet being pushed back 2 weeks, that somehow pushed Wonder Woman out of its slot. That got pushed to October, and that caused a domino effect, not the least of which caused Godzilla vs. Kong, which was moved from its March slot to November to now into next year. And a whole bunch of other movies went with it. Fucking tidal wave hit the movie scene from October on. And now, to make matters even worse, and to further complicate things, which is why people are now betting Mulan gets yanked from the schedule again, theaters, there's a new COVID uptick in China that has caused theaters to close again. I'll tell you right now, if they can't get this thing shown in China, it's not getting showed. Period. So there's a better than average chance they just take their losses on Mulan and throw it up on Disney Plus. And they'll do that before they throw Black Widow onto Disney Plus.
Yeah, they probably will. I would hope that they wind up throwing both of them up there. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't especially interested in the Black Widow movie. So not having to pay for it would be a plus for me.
But again, these were expensive movies to make.
I get it.
They
are just going to be eating losses. On the plus side for them, everyone's eating losses right now. I mean, the Supreme, I think, how do I say this? everybody trying to move back into the fall, I think, is making a pretty significant strategic error. If there's going to be a resurgence of COVID, a lot of people are predicting, a lot of people who know a lot more than I do, are actually looking at the traditional flu season and saying that's probably when it's going to happen, and we'll have just this potentially catastrophic mixture of seasonal flu and COVID resurgence that will be a serious, serious problem. So I don't think the fall is going to be any better. I think if you were going to try and do it, you might actually just go for July, bite the bullet on limited theaters, on some of the limited capacities and whatnot, and just try to do it there, because pushing things back, I think, at this point, anything that's scheduled for October or November at this point, I don't think is going to come out then.
Well,
it'll probably get pushed back to 21.
Let's talk turkey. Wonder Woman got pushed to October 2nd. We lost The Witches. That got pulled. Bios got pulled. Those two got pushed out of October entirely into next year. Sorry about Bios, by the way. Halloween Kills is still on there, and Snake Eyes is still there. I don't remember the last time Paramount actually released a picture in theaters.
I believe it was 1905.
We wore onion on our belts, and that was the style at the time. That takes
Nichols had bees on him. Give me 5 bees for a quarter, you'd say.
I don't know why this is still on my calendar. That's fucking gone.
I'm just going to say it. I've stopped paying attention to the release dates in the calendars. It's either depressing or we know it's going to change again in 2 weeks.
It's true.
Glad you clarified that. Otherwise, I'm not paying attention to this segment. I'm like, God damn it, Alexis. I've warned you about that.
No, Mark, I'm paying attention to you. I'm just not paying attention to the schedule. And I don't mean your schedule. You know what I mean.
You're a smart girl.
Yeah.
No Time to Die got pushed up 5 days out of the night before Thanksgiving, out of its homecoming slot of November 25th. That got pushed to November 20th, which is the same day Soul comes out. So, James Bond versus Pixar. And that's it. That's all for November right now. There's other stuff, but like the major stuff I have on my calendar for November is currently Black Widow, No Time to Die, and Soul. And if we make it to December, we actually get that far. Because here's the other thing that might happen. Right now, the big leaders in theaters for the month of December are the Dune sequel, which apparently is like getting a lot of buzz.
Well, let's say with the names they've got attached to it, no surprise.
Top Gun Maverick.
Ooh.
Don't care.
David Wright's going to be mad at you.
I don't care.
You can have it.
And then that's it. Tom and Jerry got moved out of that slot. So here's the other thought here. Christmas Day, they could maybe move Mulan to that spot because there's not a lot of other competition here.
I think the only thing Disney is watching when it comes to the release of Mulan is China.
Right.
I think they've accepted that in the United States it's going to be what it is, which will be okay. I think in an ideal world, it does fine here in the United States. Mark Radulich fine. But if it's going to really make its money, that one was going to be, the global presence. It was going to be the presence of places other than the United States. And if China's not really playing ball like that, and my issues with the Chinese government aside, it might just not be responsible to be that open on that level. I think that's what they're watching.
So here's the other side to this. That's really the last point I'm going to make. Theaters can open, but if they don't have features to show, there's they've already taken, like AMC and some of these other big theater chains, they're talking about like not being financially, just not being viable to open at all, even if you're able to do it with the pandemic going on. You do it with social distancing, with half capacity theaters and whatnot, which is like how some concerts are operating, things like that. There's in New Jersey, which had which were pretty restrictive. they're doing outdoor deathmatch shows, deathmatch wrestling shows that initially were drive-ins and are now they've opened up like bring your own seats general admission. So crowds are doable to a degree, but again, at keeping ticket prices constant, how do is it? And keeping and keeping the popcorn and everything at their constant price, not charging any up fees. Is it viable for even just to open the doors and try to get people in to see the theaters if you have any to actually show? And like I said, I've looked up and down at this theater release at the movie release schedule. It's not great. I read the ones that we're going to talk about, but there's not a whole lot here for them to even draw a crowd with, especially if they drop Mulan.
I think what we've entered at this point with both theaters and the releases for the immediate and foreseeable future is a really unfortunate just domino spiral.
Mm-hmm.
The studios are not going to sign up for a release date prior to some degree of assurance that they're going to get a financial return on the multi-million-dollar projects they've invested in. Theaters aren't going to be able to open until they have a property being shown that is going to drive up traffic. So now both sides are just kind of waiting for the other one to make the first move.
So let's assume everything keeps same. People will come out to see Mulan. I think Christopher Nolan always draws a crowd, and I think Tenet has a sci-fi spy quality to it.
I'm not going to lie. When that got pushed back, I was legitimately sad. Like, that's the one movie the entire rest of this entire miserable year that I'm actually looking forward to. It's Tenet.
The SpongeBob movie will draw the kiddie crowd. Bill and Ted Face the Music people will go see. Then there's a break, and then, I'm sure out of morbid curiosity, people will go see New Mutants. A Quiet Place 2 and Monster Hunter, if those keep their dates, I think people will go see.
No one will see Monster Hunter.
We will, because we're reviewing it.
Yeah, Mark, you and I are both nobodies. We know this.
Then there's a break, and then we have The Kingsman, Candyman, then back to Wonder Woman again, and then a break, then Halloween Kills, Snake Eye, then a break again, and then Black Widow, and I've already read the rest of these. So, I mean, there's stuff there, and there might have been stuff that I didn't read off because we're not reviewing it that people would be interested in. So, is it enough to make it worthwhile to open the theaters? Maybe, but it's hard for me to figure out the math on this.
Yeah, the math on this is weird. Theater chains, and we've talked about this, in the past, have been a bit in decline anyway.
Right. I mean, how many of those really feel like big picture? Like you have do you really need to see Bill and Ted on the big screen? You can't watch that one at home.
I don't need to see Bill and Ted at all.
Well, my point. I know you don't, but we're going to do it anyway because we're going to.
No. I
Bill and Ted.
I mean, look, I'm not knocking anyone who does want to see it. I'm not saying it's terrible.
But I mean, like Halloween Kills, Snake Eyes. I mean, maybe Wonder Woman you want to see on the big screen, but who cares about the rest of these?
I think of the movies you've listed, there's maybe a few that I think could substantially benefit from the big picture experience.
Right.
I think Tenet, because Nolan deliberately shoots his movies to be
in IMAX.
Yeah, and I mean, he's one of the few directors who I think understands the value of the theater experience to a moviegoer and tries to shoot a movie that plays to that. Most movies you see these days, even the big budget ones, you can tell they shot them for the small screen, not the big screen,
Yeah.
So you have Tenet, which I think will benefit from it. Mulan probably would if they shot it as lavishly as the trailers kind of indicated. I think that one could again, not necessary, but could benefit. I actually think Black Widow might benefit from it, again, depending on how they've structured certain scenes. But other than that...
I'm pretty sure Soul would.
Soul might. A lot of... Pixar would kind of be the other one, I guess, that knows...
If there's another delay, I guarantee you Soul goes to Disney+. First of all, other than it being Pixar, I don't know who they made that movie for.
Black people.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, sure.
I mean, look, I say that quasi-facetiously, but it's about a soul art. It's about a musician in the soul genre who does soul music who winds up on the other side somehow. Like,
it doesn't have a real mass kiddie equality appeal, other than it's Pixar.
I really think it looks beautiful.
I don't disagree with you, but we're all adults. A, B, we have certain things that we enjoy. I mean, the fact that it's about music and it's about it's about soul appeal to me personally. But do you really think that carries like a wide family appeal? Like, to me, this looked like a risk for Pixar. And in any other year, I'd say, oh, you're Pixar. You can pretty much get away with anything because you're that good of a studio. But it's a risk to put it out now.
yeah, again, anybody releasing anything is going to be a risk, the rest of this year. So I don't know who winds up biting the bullet first, but...
All right, anything else on the money here? If not, we're going to... Real quick, in case anyone cares. Top 10 movies of the world in the world right now.
Just stop.
Bad Boys.
Just stop.
Sonic the Hedgehog at $306 million.
That's just sad.
Doolittle, 223.
Even sadder.
Birds of Prey. Well, Birds of Prey got knocked from its third spot to its fourth spot by Doolittle. Oof.
That's how bad the box office had been going prior to the pandemic.
The Invisible Man, The Gentleman, The Call of the Wild. Wow, there are three movies in the top 10 that didn't even break 50 million. That's The Grudge, which came out in fucking January and is a remake. Fantasy Island and Underwater. Yeesh.
Yeah, it's... I mean, here's kind of the other potential reality. If you do release any movie into theaters, even at 50% capacity, and theaters are willing to open, you're going to get a top 10 movie. Like, you can put that on the marketing material, top 10 movie of 2020.
Hey, you want to know how much the rhythm section made? Not even 6 million. Almost, though.
Look, I don't know what poor sap saw that, or how many people, like how many of her family members she paid to go see this repeatedly?
You know what did better than the rhythm section? The Hunt.
Everything.
Not the not the last full measure.
Okay, which still kind of annoys me as far as that goes, but people don't want to see positive war movies, I suppose.
Let's move on.
Yes, let's, because somebody said something good about Artemis Fowl, and I will have words with thee, sir.
Let's go home.
Ma'am.
We're already home. That was quick. All right, here we go.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Nestor Betancourt of Nestor Cine Desde Hollywood. Full review in Spanish. Art a miss foul. Get it? Art a miss. AMISS foul. Get it?
Go sit in the corner. You know what you did.
Yeah.
God, not even Emily Nicholson liked this movie. All right. Brian Lowry.
Hang on. If that... how do I say this politely? No, hang on. What do you call someone who takes money for things?
Hack.
Sellout?
Sure.
Whore.
Apparently that's one of those words we bleep out now. If that sellout couldn't find anything good to say about it while cashing a Disney check, you know it's bad.
Well, Brian Lowry of
Just
CNN,
stop.
CNN.com. I will not. Of CNN.com, top critic.
Oh, to the shock of no one, some insufferable jackass out of CNN.
Artemis Fowl isn't an unqualified good egg, but it's perfectly adequate. And
No,
the best
it's
of
not.
the best of the kid-friendly movies
It's
redirected
really
to streaming
not.
by the coronavirus. A low bar, admittedly.
Dude, you cannot put enough qualifiers on this to make that an accurate statement.
Seriously, is this coming from the participation trophy? Well, at least they tried mindset.
This is coming from the I'm trying to hedge my bets for when Disney buys CNN.
You win.
I don't know. This guy's an idiot. Please put my quote somewhere on your website. Again, to the shock of no one, somebody associated with CNN is just an incomprehensible sellout and a total waste of human space.
All right, this next one comes from Robert, the future ex-Mrs. Robert Winfrey. Tanya Lamb of Lola Lamb Chops.
I think you've read her stuff before.
I know I have, because I can't resist that name. Lola Lamb Chops.
You think that's her real name?
Yes.
Mark lives in a very odd world.
It's like it has to be a real name, or Mark is just going to start crying.
Mark can't take it's still Mark. It's still real to you. Damn it! Not a reference too many people will get, but if you do,
Tanya Lamb of Lola Lamb Chops. A good starter sci-fi film for
No.
kids who don't know
No.
anything about the books, but
No.
you're better off reading the books.
okay, you're better
Yes.
off reading. All you had to say was you're better off reading the books. It's not a good movie. It's not a good introduction to sci-fi for kids.
Just show them friggin' Star Wars.
Star Wars is not sci-fi, but I'd rather show my children that pile of drivel as opposed to this pile of crap.
Wait. If Star Wars isn't sci-fi, then what is it?
It's fantasy.
It's fantasy.
Space fantasy, yeah.
It's just fantasy set in outer space.
Star Trek is science fiction.
Yes.
Lost in Space is science fiction.
Okay, look, no. You want to introduce your kids to sci-fi? Watch Galaxy Quest. Don't watch this.
No argument. That's a great movie.
All right. Where'd it go? Fico Candelano of Cine Express.
Do you purposely look for the people whose names you can't pronounce?
Yes. A mix between
No, he just can't pronounce anything.
Jeff Smith of Cine Express.
There we go.
A mix between Spy Kids, Harry Potter, and Men in Black that will
No.
probably entertain young ones and frustrate adults. The story
No.
is too busy, muddled, and the main
No.
character is the weakest link.
Yes.
I'm willing to bet 90% that they only chose a mixture of Men in Black because of the suits that the main characters wear.
And the sunglasses.
Well, I count the sunglasses as part of the suit. Because this movie has nothing else to do with Men in Black.
Not a darn thing.
You realize that a lot of these I'm reading. Dan Murrell of Dan Murrell Reviews. All
You
right.
self-employed loser.
Yeah, Dan Murrell. What happened to the stupid site that he was a part of?
It fell apart because he was a part of it.
Screen Junkies. That's the one. What is he not a part of Screen Junkies anymore?
Screen Junkies basically cut their staff by like 40% because they can't sell ad space anymore because, hey, pandemic. Not that Screen Junkies will be any great loss.
Artemis Fowl isn't just a bad movie. It's a gloriously bad movie.
No, it isn't. There is no joy to be found in this movie's crappiness.
Yeah,
this-
it's a so good it's bad film because it's so boring and tedious.
Here's a fresh review. This one gave it a B+.
Wow.
Nell Minow of Movie Mom. How did Movie Mom get on Rotten Tomatoes, but we haven't? I want to know.
We don't write up transcripts and submit them that way.
What if I just sent them a bag of poop?
I mean, I can't stop you, but it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, there's our non sequitur for the night, folks.
I feel like that line is going to make it into the next Scooby-Doo movie.
I think that it goes right up there with go smoke a bowl of grape ape at 2 + 2 does not equal shoes.
A family-friendly, gorgeously designed action fantasy,
No.
says the Movie Mom.
Oi.
It's really not.
Rosie Fletcher of Den of Geek. As enjoyable escapism, Artemis Fowl whips by in a buzz of color, magic, and spectacle.
Okay, you were high when you watched this, weren't you?
Which might just
Either
be
that
what
or
you
she was-
need.
That thing just reeks that she was paid to say something positive. You guys ever
Yeah.
watch the show The Critic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
love The Critic.
It's the movie my whole life is based on.
Yeah, you know that scene in in one episode where Jay goes through premiere and one of the executives walks up to another critic and says, "We need something quotable for the movie posters," and puts a couple of bucks in his pocket. Every time I hear something that schmaltzy, I just imagine an executive has gone to that person and handed him a couple of bucks and said, "We need something for the DVD case. You know what to do."
Yeah.
Gosh, not even Perry Nemiroff liked this movie, and she likes everything that's terrible.
That is accurate.
Joe Berry for Movies for Kids. Judi Dench, sporting a bouffant that's almost as scary as her feline costume in Cats. God damn it. And Josh Gad seem to have been told to act as if they are in Panto.
Like, to act as if they are what?
In Panto.
I don't understand the reference.
I don't get it either.
In fairness, I will say this. In fairness to Judi Dench's character and her vocal performance, the character in the books is a chain smoker. The fact that they completely removed that attribute from the character means that they shouldn't sound like this. But
it's Disney. You know, you are aware about Disney's policy on cigarettes in their family films.
Of course. So my point is, if you were making a more faithful adaptation, it would make sense to have her sound like that. Having changed that, there was no reason for it. There was no reason for Josh Gad to sound like he's doing a bad Christian Bale impression either.
Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer.
Grace.
Josh Gad and Judi Dench as a fairy Commissioner Gordon make this movie watchable.
No, they don't.
No.
They really don't.
Wait, you gotta see this next part. But overall, it's another Tomorrowland, the BFG, or Nutcracker in the Four Realms for Disney.
That's more accurate, although that's not actually the reference I would make when it comes to terrible Disney movies that this reminds me of.
You know,
I mean,
any of those other movies, I've avoided those three movies like the plague.
Okay, well, I saw the BFG. The BFG wasn't bad, but we didn't review it. We reviewed Tomorrowland,
which was terrible.
And my daughter and my wife loved the Nutcracker.
I can't imagine why. And I mean, seriously,
They're
Grace,
girls,
and anyone else,
and one of them's 9.
I don't care. That's not an excuse.
Your child might. Your child might like the Nutcracker in 3D, the one with John Turturro as a Nazi rat king. It doesn't make him right.
I mean, really, A Wrinkle in Time is right there, people.
Well, they didn't go after that one because, racism.
Yeah, look, I'll say it. It's a terrible movie.
Evan Dossie of Midwest Film Journal. Nothing but a messy dirt fart into the digital wind. Really? Was that necessary?
You know what? Yes.
Just because I agree with them doesn't mean that they have to keep bringing up that horrible scene.
Yeah.
Somebody actually put a GIF loop of that on Twitter. And it's like,
sure they did.
Yeah, I just comment on them like, you are what is wrong with the world.
Probably true.
Roger Tennis of CinemaClips.com. The energetic Artemis Fowl flies by fast. Ka-ching.
Stop it. Okay, dumbass. you didn't actually watch this movie. You saw the runtime and made some graphically, hilariously wrong assumptions about it.
Nicola Austin of We Have a Hulk.
You don't have a Hulk.
No, we don't. A fun but frustrating family-friendly adventure.
It's not
Artemis
fun.
Fowl features enough potential and star power to establish a larger franchise.
It
Not
really does.
Ants.
Wow, I hope you took that check to the bank, buddy.
And seriously, star power? Yeah, I'm sorry, with the exception of Judi Dench and Josh Gad, I hadn't. We guys mentioned the guy who played Butler has been in several other movies, but I honestly couldn't recognize his name.
Entirely supporting roles.
Yeah, it's like, star power? Are you kidding me?
Look, Colin Farrell walking around in a suit with his Irish accent exudes more charisma than the totality of this movie absent him.
I just want to go watch him Bruges now so I can actually enjoy Colin Farrell as a good actor. Actually, Robert, you ever seen that movie?
Oh, not in a really long time. My brother and I make jokes about it.
Oh, I love that movie. It's really
Look,
good.
if you
Go watch The
Hold on.
Gentleman.
No, stop. Look, if you want to watch something fun with Colin Farrell in it, go watch SWAT.
Richard Roper of Chicago Sun-Times.
Wow, I just got no-sold. Really, you're going to no-sell a movie featuring Colin Farrell, LL Cool J, Samuel L. Jackson, and Jeremy Renner?
I've never
you people
seen
are
it.
terrible.
You did get no sell. Moving on.
Once
Mark,
again.
you should watch it. It's your kind of crap.
Okay, Richard Roper, Chicago Sun-Times, top critic.
Oh, Richard.
Warm.
Can I call you Dick?
Dick Roper.
Further sides that, we really aren't as mature as we try to be.
Warm and funny and entertaining.
And no.
Ka-ching. Brian Truitt.
I'm sorry, hang on. Hey, hold on. Just
God damn it.
I need to take a moment here, okay? Because Mr. Roper, you at one point had a modicum of integrity.
Enough of an integrity to be chosen to work with the late great Ebert.
Yeah, he was Siskel's replacement for At the Movies. And your response to this movie includes warm and funny without some horrible negative adjective before them.
Just a thought. Do you get the idea that half of these positive reviews, if they weren't being paid off by the studio, they probably saw this movie with their kids, and the kids were just having too much fun, and just maybe that was a bit contagious? I mean, Mark, I'm just going to say, how many times have you watched a movie that if you had watched on your own, you would have hated it, but because you were watching it with the kids, you found there was a modicum of enjoyment with it because they were having fun?
I think that was my takeaway from Charlie's Angels, was like, if I had just watched it for the point of review, I would have tore it apart. My daughter had so much fun, and then she was like karate kicking out the theater. I was like, see, that's what makes this a fun experience for me. She's having a great time.
I'm glad you had a good experience. Your experience does not alter the crap of the film.
No, and I'm not. Look, Charlie's Angels isn't a good movie, and we talked about that like off air. I think we may have talked about it during. I think I brought it up during the money section of Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, because we didn't review Charlie's Angels.
Right, but I brought that up. I brought up the controversy that went along with it and everything, controversy such as it was. And I said at the time, like, arguably it's a terrible movie, but, like, so what? I had a great time with my daughter. She had a great time watching it. She's not a fucking professional film critic. At the time, she was 8. So I'm all... Look, I forgot to do the warning at the beginning of this. I might actually put this in the Facebook description. I have to warn my dad not to listen to this show because he already knocks it for being too negative in the first place. He's like, he likes On Trial because at least somebody says something positive. He fucking hates us.
Look, we say plenty of positive things about movies we think deserve it.
He doesn't hear that.
Does he understand that On Trial half the time we're saying something positive because our arms are being twisted behind our backs?
Yeah, like if
You
your
take
father
that
likes...
back. Catwoman's a national treasure.
Stop it, Mark. Look, the whole purpose of On Trial is actually to sort of somewhat revive the old debate format of one person taking the affirmative, one person taking the negative, and then actually just arguing the positions and finding evidence to support the presupposed positions rather than bringing your own personal baggage into it, which is a fine endeavor. It's one I applaud. This is just a review of the movie.
Yeah, but he gets on my case about it. Like, he's heard a bunch of the Damn You Hollywoods. He's like, well, nobody says anything positive about it. You guys hate these movies. And I'm like, first of all, I'm the positive one. And I say plenty of positive stuff about these, to the point where I get into arguments with you about it. And Alexis isn't particularly negative. Generally speaking, even if you and I both hate something, she's like, what? I liked it. It's fine. And then explains why. But, like, he, for whatever reason, loses focus on the show and just hears us bitching. So I gotta tell him to stay as far away from this fucking show as possible. But
I was gonna say, did they not hear our review of The Invisible Man or Ready or Not?
Yeah,
or
I don't.
what other movies that we gave positive?
Knives Out,
Knives
Ferrari. There's plenty of movies we've talked positively about.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This is my. Hey, have you listened to the podcast lately? Not your Damn You Hollywood. You guys hate movies. I'm like, all right, Dad. Thanks. Anyway,
back to what I was saying, though. Do you think it's possible that some of these positive reviewers, like I said, if they're not being obviously paid off by the studio to get something quotable, are saying these things because they saw the movie with their kids and they are getting the enjoyment of their children, into their reviews?
I was answering you, and I think that's the answer is yeah. I think.
Okay.
I think they walked into these and they weren't really thinking with theater brain. They were thinking with dad brain. And they were like, kids are happy.
I do kind of genuinely wonder how the experience of reviewing these exclusively from home versus going to the theater to review them alters some of like the almost unconscious pathways your brain takes when you're trying to get into a proper mindset for things.
I mentioned to Alexis
it's not
earlier,
a problem for me. I'm a miserable person no matter where I am.
I mentioned earlier to Alexis that the Whitney Seibold and William Bibiani from Critically Acclaimed, so that's the fucking name of the podcast, did a review for Artemis Fowl, and both of them were like, yeah, we didn't hate it. They definitely had their complaints about it. And these guys tend to be kind of snobby film critics. And a lot of what they say I tend to agree with. I mean, they're the ones that called the new Maleficent movie rock stupid, and they were right. And, they, of course, bagged on Cats like everybody else did.
Because Cats is terrible.
Even though it's a national treasure. But
moving on.
Mark, if you were in charge of determining national treasures, all we'd have is a pile of crap.
What a wonderful world it would be.
No, it really wouldn't.
Brian Truitt of USA Today, top critic.
Oh, no.
It's a fairly entertaining yet familiar narrative.
No, it's really not.
Wait, this gets better.
Who's entertained by this?
9-year-old girls. It's a fairly entertaining...
Okay, Brian Truitt identifies as a 9-year-old girl then? I don't
know. Or a 6-year-old boy, one of the two. It's a fairly entertaining yet familiar narrative that'll give tweens and teens a change of pace from binging... He spelled binging wrong, I think. High School Musical and Descendants flicks this summer.
Okay, seriously. No one over the age of 10 will seriously enjoy this movie.
Janir Zerbano agrees with you of Cinemania. Artemis Fowl will delight child audiences. Sure.
I'm not even sure it will do that.
It will delight child audiences if those children haven't taken their daily Ritalin.
This will loosely entertain the developmentally disabled children. That's about all it's got going for it.
Mark, didn't you say your son liked the movie?
Yep.
I am not retracting my statement.
Oh, God.
David Rooney of Hollywood Reporter, top critic.
Oh.
Not entirely foul, but a
Oh, God, shut up. You should be arrested for that level of writing pun. That's bad.
Putting something that catchphrasey isn't going to get on the poster or the DVD box.
Not entirely foul, but a charmless chore. Get it?
Yeah. Okay. Look, buddy. Yeah, it's charmless. Yeah, it's a chore. Your wordplay is awful. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm retracting my previous statement of throw virgins in the volcano to appease the 2020 god. We need to throw pun writing hacks in the volcano now. So, Robert, you're safe.
All right.
I do think puns are the lowest form of comedy.
Speaking of lowest form of comedy, Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian.
Oh,
Top critic. This is a YA franchise by numbers.
Wow.
that's not technically true. I think the original Percy Jackson films were more of a YA franchise by numbers.
Yeah, and somehow...
But considering the changes they made to this to try to make it more into a franchise, he's not totally wrong.
He's not totally wrong, but, I mean, considering the changes they made to the movies in the Percy Jackson films, just gutted them after two movies.
Johnny Oleksinsky, who I believe is fighting in the UFC's heavyweight division, also in the New York Post, top critic. That one was for you, Robert. All of these characters should have some personality, but the actors are trapped in what feels like a CD-ROM role-playing game from 1995.
That's really good, actually.
I don't like to give the New York Post a lot of credit, but that's a good one. I played a lot of those CD-ROM games.
Edward Douglas, the Weekend Warrior, sets up the possibility for even more fun, family-friendly fantasy storytelling.
Just
Fuck me. 7.5 out of 10. Were you getting a blowjob while you watched this? What the fuck?
Yeah, just because it ends on one hell of a cliffhanger does not mean we want to see it continue.
This doesn't even get cliffhanger status for me. It's just a giant anticlimax.
You could throw Donald Trump off a cliff, and some people are probably going to want to know if he splats, but I'm willing to walk away saying I don't care.
Douglas Davidson, last one. Elements of madness. In madness. Fans, take comfort in knowing that while this may not be the exact representation you know...
Oh, boy.
There's little doubt that Artemis is a different sort of villain to root for. Is he writing PR for Disney?
In the movie. He's not a villain in the movie. They changed that because the studio was a bunch of Nimrods.
I'm sorry. This guy got his... That's not actually this guy's opinion. He was sent a memo from Disney about their PR spiel for this movie, and that's all he put up there. That is a corporate talking point, not an actual opinion, you undignified hack.
Sounds to me more like he asked his youngest daughter, who was a fan of the books, what the plot was, without any of them actually seeing the movie, and just went off of what she said.
Wouldn't surprise me either.
Why did we do this movie? Because we had fun tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
We hope you did too.
Thank you for coming into our house this evening and listening to our review of Artemis Fowl, and we hope you've enjoyed your time spent with us. Tomorrow, I'm trying to do like a Mr. Rogers neighborhood thing here.
Yeah, you ain't Fred Rogers, buddy.
You ain't kidding, Jack. Tomorrow, the Podsman shall ride again as we review the greatest wrestling match ever in the history of pugilism and fussing and fighting. Edge.
It really wasn't.
Edge. Randy Orton. Backlash.
What the hell is pugilism?
Fist fighting.
And speaking of pugilism...
That's actually the technical term for it, is pugilism.
Jesse Starcher's back this Wednesday on the Metal Hammer of Doom. We'll be doing Termian Catalot's Global Warning. The following week, you get a whole mess. Just a whole mess of Alexis Hana. We're going to be doing a source material live for Supergirl being super. And then she is going to binge all 5 seasons, and we're going to focus on season 5 of the CW/CBS nighttime telly, Supergirl. Yes, sir.
I'm actually eating a little bit and watching season recaps to get me caught up. However, I will say I did watch all of season 1, and I am entertained enough that after I get through season 5 so I can talk about it without sounding like a complete idiot, I will be returning to rewatch it, especially the episode with Mr. Mix's Plitlick, because he's one of my favorite villains.
I weep for you.
Speaking of weep...
Mr. Mix's Plitlick is awesome.
I'm not about that character.
No, he's weeping for you to having to sit through 5 seasons of Supergirl.
Well, like I said, I'm cheating.
I would absolutely cheat. I would not even watch season 5. I would read the wiki and just go off of that.
For the record, I'm cheating because I procrastinated too much and I had a few other things come up, so I put the show off more than I should have. So I am cheating because I screwed up royally.
You also got to get through Batwoman, by the way.
Yeah, but that's just one season. I can get through in a weekend. That's not a problem. Actually, the problem is finding out where to find Batwoman because I don't think it's on Netflix.
It's not anywhere. It existed for about. It's like the Pocket Fox. It existed for about 2 weeks in the 14th century and then ceased to be.
Yeah, maybe. Wait, is it on, any chance it's on HBO Max? Does anyone know? Because I convinced Andre we could do a trial period of HBO Max, if no other reason, so I can do that review of the new Looney Tunes cartoons. Coming soon to Rattledge and Broadcasting Network, plug.
I'll look for you in a second if I can finish my plugs.
Sorry.
All right, so Wednesday, June 24th, Jesse Starcher will be back again. We'll be doing Lamb of God's new self-titled album, Lamb of God. And then, in theory, one would assume, it's on the schedule, so maybe it'll happen, On Trial, Supergirl, 1984. How about that shit?
Ooh. That's a rough one.
That's another national treasure.
Mark.
What? What's your problem?
The gimmick stops meaning anything if you do it all the time.
You stop meaning anything if you do it all the time.
That's not even an appropriate comeback.
You know, they actually found a way to work the Omega Hadron into the series.
So it's streaming on CW Seed right now, which I believe is free.
There's nothing on there worth money. It better be free.
All right, if you're looking for stuff in the archives, and why wouldn't you be, we covered NXT TakeOver in Your House, comic strip The Last Days of American Crime, and Fuller House Season 5 Part 2. We've also got...
The one that ended with the extinction of the human race.
Catwoman When in Rome, Devilman Crybaby, Ailstorm Curse of the Crystal Coconut, and, for those of you into the boxing, we covered one of the best, most unspoken heroes of the heavyweight boxing history world, Smokin' Joe Frazier. So, you go ahead.
Poor Smokin' Joe.
Yep.
That man does not get the credit he deserves.
No, he doesn't. We tried, though, man. We tried to give him the credit he deserves on that show. I don't know how successful we were, but we tried because he deserves it. Goddamn. Anyway, that's it. That's all my plugs. Robert, I hear you do a show. What do you do it on?
Sundays I host the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. This last week it was just me talking about one of the worst UFC cards of the last several years.
I watched The Wire.
I don't blame you. In fairness, if you looked at that card on paper and went, this is the worst, it wasn't the worst. So it technically overperformed. Yeah, so there's my review of that card, my preview of the upcoming UFC event, which is actually a pretty good card. You've got a relevant heavyweight fight in the main event. You have the fight that should be in the main event and the co-main event. You have Jim Miller fighting. You have a Clay Guida fight. I hate Clay Guida, and I hate his fights, but I know people out there don't, so enjoy. So there's my full preview of that, plus the bevy of fights the UFC announced, including the 3 fights for Yaz Island. The UFC is back in the UAE in the month of July. And all I really hope for those poor fighters is that the UFC or whoever did the construction on the facilities put some cooling devices near the octagon. Because I don't know about you people, but the thought of fighting in the Middle East in July just doesn't exactly scream to me safety compliant in terms of the temperature without some precautions being taken. But I talked briefly about the fights that got announced, so tune into that. You can find my full report for UFC on ESPN 10, which was this last Saturday's card in the MMA Zone of 411 Mania. This coming Saturday, my live coverage for the upcoming UFC card. My review of the MLW Anthology series keeps on rolling. This last week was the Lucha Brothers, Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. You can find that somewhere in the Wrestling Zone of 411 Mania, and I will be covering their one this Saturday, their anthology of the Extreme Horsemen, which manages to be the most simultaneously derivative and dated reference you could possibly make. I fully expected Smash Mouth to play over some part of their preview.
Hey, now you're a rock star.
Stop it. Shrek wasn't even good as a contemporary thing. It is now just so horribly aged you can't even watch it.
Your fight this weekend's got some competition. Emmanuel Navarrete's fighting also.
I look forward to that fight ending via low blows.
Punch in the dick! Punch in the dick!
Hey, did you see the top-ranked card that had a fight end via low blows?
If that was the one from this past Thursday, it's in my DVR. Don't spoil the ending for me.
I won't say which one. There's a fight where one fighter finally collapses and can't get up after the third or fourth time he's punched in the crotch.
Perfect. Sounds right up my alley. You know what's also debuting after a brief COVID pause this Saturday, the 20th? GCW The World, baby, Part 2. Nick fucking Gage. Yeah.
I hate so much about who you choose to be.
I thought you said Nick Cage for a second. I was like, what, we're doing a Marvel crossover?
No. Nick Gage is a terrible human being. First of all, just... No. Like, Mark, stop it. Not even gimmickry aside. He is a terrible person who should probably be in jail and has been in the past.
He did his time. He served...
Who should be back in jail, and he knows why. Who's a deathmatch wrestler.
Yep.
He's terrible.
He's the best.
Only interesting thing he ever did was stand out of the way when the Necro Butcher shot on Justice Payne, his brother.
So, lots of fun fights this weekend. Gonna be terrific.
Hopefully. So that's what you've got to look forward to for me in the coming future. And Mark agreed to review another anime series with me because he's more of a sadist than I thought he was. And we'll be getting to that in August. So I look forward to that. That'll be something. I also look forward to Mark falling out again for whatever reason he chooses to come up with.
No, I'll be fine.
We've discussed what your version of fine means, Mark.
I'm still planning to owe you that One Punch Man
Just
show.
stop. It's done. It's over. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. We'll get to it.
No, you won't.
There's always more.
Just remember, I will be seeing Mark when I go down to Florida whenever the convention actually happens. And I'm pretty sure a handful of members of this podcast series have asked me to send some body blows his way.
Hey, I may have working lungs by then. You're going to have to catch me first.
Just right in the kidney.
Oh, do I get to chase you around Disney World?
Yes, well, I go, wee with my hands in the air. Plug your damn company, you.
Oh, but I'm having fun imagining threatening you and chasing you between all the characters at Disney World.
My son will
Stop
protect.
it,
My son will protect me.
Your son will help Alexis.
Yeah,
You
probably.
know that.
Your son, last I talked to you, was jumping on your stomach.
Well, that's an everyday occurrence.
While your daughter and your wife in the background look at each other and pretend they don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, accurate.
Pretty much. All right. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic. As always, we are still pushing everything on our online servers, on our online stores. Did someone just yawn in the middle of my plug?
I'm sorry. I was trying to keep it quiet.
You could at least mute your mic, Mark.
I could do a lot of things. Finish.
I'm not sure that's accurate anymore.
I need a moment.
Take all the time you need.
No, don't. I want to go to bed, clearly.
Well, play Robert. He broke me again. All right. We have new products coming to our online stores this week as soon as I can get some pictures taken and as soon as I'm not forced to watch Supergirl, including new Monopoly token charm bracelets in a variety of colors. We have a couple of brand new pieces. For those who are fans of Magic the Gathering, I suggest you take a look because we're going to have some fun stuff coming. Our convention schedule, has been lightened due to the pandemic. We are supposed to be heading next month to Cape Girardeau for Cape Comic-Con. Looking forward to that. We always have fun there. You know, barring a second wave, we will be going there. I just actually sent a notice that the star of Flash Gordon is going to be there as a special guest.
Flash! Ah! He'll save every one of us.
There's no such thing as a star from that movie.
Max Van Sydow was a star.
Not in that movie.
The guy that plays Prince Vultan was a star.
No.
Timothy Dalton was a star.
I don't know who that is.
You know who Timothy Dalton is, you dolt.
Give me something else he was in.
James Bond.
Oh, he was like... Isn't he the worst James Bond, though?
No. I've looked. He's not the worst.
Okay.
He's, I think, in the most violent ones is the issue with him.
Oh, yeah. He's the one Pat kind of defends on occasion.
Yeah, he did that. He was the brief Bond before they got Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
All right, so afterwards, we're still on the fence about which conventions will be opening up afterwards. A lot of these shows, unfortunately, have been playing it by ear. They don't know if they're actually going to be happening or not. We are keeping an eye on the news and what happens. Take a look at our Facebook and Twitter feeds. We will be posting updates as we get them and which shows we will actually be making appearances at. Of course, you can always find us on those two formats and Instagram. You can always find our stores on Etsy and Handmade at Amazon. And I have been up to my ears with custom orders lately, and we would love to make something custom for you. So if you've got an idea, go ahead, shoot us an email, shoot us a text. We will listen. We will get it done.
Timothy Dalton was Mr. Pricklepants in Toy Story.
Which Toy
God
Story?
Damn you, Mark!
Mr. Pricklepants.
The original Toy Story?
No, Toy Story 3.
He was that cute little stuffed hedgehog toy that was the actor in Bonnie's room.
Oh, okay.
He was also in Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, he's the police. He's the store owner in Hot Fuzz, right?
He's also in Beautician and the Beast.
Yeah, that's awful.
He's also in The Rocketeer.
Oh shit, that's right. He was the villain of The Rocketeer. God, that's a good movie.
He's also in your favorite movie, The King's Whore.
That is not my favorite movie, Mark.
It is your favorite movie. It's your favorite 1990 drama film directed by Axel Corti, starring Timothy Dalton.
It's actually not my favorite drama film from 1990 directed by Axel Corti, believe it or not.
Okay, I'd like to point out that Mark was just getting mad at me for taking too long to finish. You two are the ones that are procrastinating now.
When he admits that he loves The King's Whore and wants to marry it, then we'll move on.
No, I don't.
So, Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic, right?
Yes.
All right, Robert, take me home.
No. You're gonna have to pay for your own cab fare to get back after this one.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to our review of The King's Whore.
It's really not. Thank you to everyone for listening to our stupidity. And somewhere in the midst of all of which we talked about Artemis Fowl.
And The King's Whore.
This is what bad movies do to us, people.
You are not kidding. We will be back at some point in the future with something else, but that's all kind of up. That's all kind of up in the air right now because, well, the world is what it is.
World's on fire.
Sit back and toast some marshmallows.
And put on a copy of The King's Whore. Be well. Be safe.
I'm not. Look, you've never actually seen that movie. Stop it.
And behave.